Have you ever thought about starting a lawn care business that could be worth millions of dollars, but you just don't know where to start? Well, stick around for this video where we'll walk you through how to do that. In this new series, we are filming someone starting their business from scratch. We'll talk to Nic Reed and his mentor, Mike Andes. Can you break down the cost or maybe the profit margins on those three services?
Me joining as a franchisee is essentially like an insurance policy.
I want to encourage our viewers that you don't have to have $25K to get started. Nic is only 21 years old and is up for the challenge. His aim is to reach $160,000 in revenue in his first year, and Mike's advice is crucial to achieving that goal.
I'm looking to spend between 35 and 4 at the top end.
I'd say half of the year, this is the best mower you're ever going to run.
So second year revenue, what's your goal for that?
Second year revenue, 300,000.
Mike is no stranger to landscaping. At the age of 13, he started mowing lawns to pay his way through college. Today, he owns his multi-million-dollar landscaping company, has an MBA, consults many small businesses, and has used his top-rated Business Bootcamp podcast to help entrepreneurs all over the world. So he's a perfect mentor.
Yeah, I think the problem with the idea of a mentor is that the first thing you do is ask, and I don't think that's right. It's easier to systematize simplicity.
If you've ever wanted to open up a lawn care business or any other business for that matter, you definitely want to pay close attention to Nic's progress and Mike's advice. We'll be giving you a front row seat to see how Nic is building his business from scratch. All right, you guys, we're here with Mike Andes, owner of Augusta Lawn Care Services, and Nic Reed, someone we'll be shadowing and posting progress updates for you guys. So let's start with Mike real quick. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you feel qualified to be a mentor.
Yeah, so I started Augusta Lawn Care about 7-8 years ago now. And in terms of qualification, I don't know if I'm necessarily qualified, but in terms of what Augusta's done since then, we now have 34 locations around the United States and Canada. Wow. And I speak a lot at different conferences and things like that for landscapers and have a podcast called landscapebusinesscourse.com.
Mm-hmm. I think that makes you pretty well qualified. We'll share more about why. So Nic, how do you find yourself in the lawn care business out of all the businesses?
Lawn care, it's something I've been doing since middle school. I enjoy being outside. It's good, honest work. And it's just kind of led me to where I am now.
Okay. Nic, walk us through the first steps in starting a lawn care business. What are the key things we need to look for? Someone watching has no idea where to start, but really has a lot of passion.
The first thing, obviously, would be to find a source of knowledge. It's not good to go into this kind of thing blindly. Right. Especially if you have no experience running a business. In terms of starting the physical business, you need to get licensed, you need to get insured, you need to make sure that you have a budget, and that budget needs to include marketing, the cost of all of your tools, the cost to the franchisee or the franchise if you are franchising. Mm-hmm. And you basically just need to start with a budget and section that off towards all certain things, and then create a 1-year plan as to where that money is going to be spent and when.
How did you decide on what services you're going to offer, and how has Mike's experience sort of helped you shape those decisions?
So the model is simplicity. So we do mowing, landscaping, and property cleanups. It's all entry-level skilled labor. I could take somebody off the street and teach them how to use a tool and have them doing the work within a day. And so the reason why we want to keep it simple is because starting out with a lot of complexity becomes an issue when assets don't get utilized. Like we had a $10,000 wood chipper sitting in the yard for like 6 months that never got used once. And so it just makes a lot more sense to just really drive for the simple services and not start out with trying to offer every service to everyone, because there's going to be so many more issues that pop up as a result, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to train people to do those things.
Anything you want to add to that, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of, he knows where he wants to be at, right? He eventually wants to have a team. He eventually wants to have where he doesn't have to show up every day for work. Because there's simplicity, it's easier to systematize simplicity. The more complexity you add to the business, the more and more the owner usually has to be there to juggle all the balls. Mm-hmm. And so him knowing from day one, hey, I want to make this simple so it can run on systems, it's easier to systematize simplicity. And so I think that's what he's focused on, and knowing the end goal is so important when you're starting a business, because you'll eliminate all of the juggling and changing the business model that would otherwise have to happen if he added complexity now.
Makes sense. You guys are wearing the same shirt. Tell us a little bit about, again, why the lawn care business? Do you have any previous experience, and what does that journey look like for you to start off with?
Yeah, so I've been with Augusta here locally for 2 years. And the reason why I decided to own and operate my own franchise is because I've seen all the effort that Mike puts into giving content to other people to help them run their lawn care businesses. And me joining as a franchisee is essentially like an insurance policy, because I've seen the systems work. I know how it works. And basically, I just have to learn all the back end stuff. But it's an insurance policy, and I just know that there is no chance that I'm going to fail because I've seen it work.
Did you think about starting from scratch versus signing up with Augusta? I mean, just the question for somebody watching, do I start with a clean paper or do I join a franchisee?
I mean, if I never worked here at Augusta, if I never got in touch with Mike's podcast or any of his content, I probably would have thought about starting by myself, but I probably would have followed a similar path that most people do that don't have business experience, but they know how to do lawn care, and then they go into the business, and then the business side of things get all twisted.
Yeah, they don't do so well.
And I think in one way, like franchising is almost kind of like mentorship, even if it's not from a person, right? Because it's a form of kind of like learning certain processes that would otherwise take money and time, and you get that as part of being a franchise. But there's also drawbacks, right? You have to use the same name. If you paint your truck a certain color, those are all parts of a franchise versus independent.
Right.
And I think that's an interesting, thought process for someone starting out.
People love numbers. Let's talk about numbers real quick. Those 3 services, Mike, can you break down the cost or maybe the profit margins on those 3 services?
Yeah, so, in terms of mowing, landscaping, obviously in this industry, that's kind of like the 2 big ones. And for us, mowing is the recurring work, right? And that's the beauty of mowing is every single week you're showing up. You might go to someone's property 25, 30, 35 times in a year. That recurring work is beautiful because you can build on that. Whereas with landscaping, it's one-off jobs. Like you get a lead, you sell them, you get a $20,000 paver install or $20,000 big project, then it's done. Beautiful thing about mowing, if I have 500 customers this year, well, next year I get 100 more, now I'm at 600. I can keep building. Whereas landscaping, it's more one and done. This one gets affected more usually during a recession because people have discretionary income. They maybe don't do a big project.
True, yeah.
Mowing, it's a little bit more consistent. And so typically the margins on landscaping is going to be higher than mowing, but again, this is recurring.
Right. Okay. And then you've got the cleanup, you said.
Yeah, it kind of falls under landscaping as well.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Landscaping, it's pretty broad terms.
But at least this is the simple plan that we're looking at to get started.
Yeah, if you go on the website and look at the services, this is what will show up.
Perfect. Pretty easy. Now, for somebody watching who may want to find a mentor, any ideas, any suggestions on what they should do? For example, they're looking at lawn care. Maybe somebody else is looking at an auto care business. Different mentors for each, or let's dive into that just a little bit.
Yeah, I think the problem with the idea of a mentor is that the first thing you do is ask, and I don't think that's right. For someone who is of value and is very busy, they're not just going to be like, yeah, you can come follow me. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to take all my time. You have to take into account the fact that he worked 2 years for me before ever getting a franchise or any sort of mentorship or help. I think that mentality of asking first is wrong. I think it's what can I do for you, and then in return, most people are going to want to reciprocate that.
You're right, because that's what I think about. Ask, can you be my mentor? Or who are you? What are the tips and things? Don't ask, do what?
I would say absorb as much about that person from afar first, so that when you do ask, when you do talk to them, you actually have some context. He knows that I'm into lawn care. He didn't come and ask me about some other company, right? And then, like I said, give and then ask later on.
Just thinking about how we can give. I'm sitting in my office, I've got a business idea, and I'm like, man, I need somebody that knows better, that can be a mentor. Nick, you can barge in here too as well. We're just kind of sharing ideas, but what can our viewers do other tips and tricks and ideas?
Yeah, I think just looking where you can help them, right? Like, for example, he came and worked, right? He did work here physically. Maybe someone needs someone to do their marketing. Maybe you make a free video for somebody. If you're a videographer and you want a job working at some media agency, why don't you make a free video for them? Why don't you create something of value for that person first and then let them reciprocate? And most decent human beings want to do that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's almost like using the barter system.
Yeah.
You're offering someone a service in exchange for hoping that they will offer you the help that you're seeking.
Can we take this into more of your business plan too? What did that look like? I know we broke the numbers down a little bit. Can we do that here just so that we can see how you're starting out with how much dollars and how you're breaking that down?
Maybe give your first year projections
Yeah.
and kind of break that down.
Yeah. So for the first year, projection kind of in the middle estimate, we're looking at 150,000. Starting out, the budget that I had, the money that I had saved up to get started was 25,000.
Okay.
Startup expenses included the truck, which purchasing the truck, getting it painted, getting the decals on it cost me around $8,000 with the registration. After that, we're going to have the marketing expenses. So I think I have around 10,000 set aside for that. All the other insurance, licensing fees, just the miscellaneous stuff is the remainder of that.
And equipment?
Yeah, equipment. Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one?
That's a big one, yeah. Yeah, equipment as well.
Okay.
And I'm looking to spend probably around $4,000 in all my equipment.
Which is pretty cool, guys, because we're going to go to the store and actually do some shopping and break down the cost of what you're looking to buy, right?
Yep.
So that'll be pretty fun. I know we talked about budget a little bit. I want to come back a little bit. You mentioned, how did you get started? 25K came from where?
So I spent the last year living in a van purely to save that money. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it at that point. You know, the franchise popped up and I was like, man, I love everything that goes on here. So it was kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, so I had no expenses during that time in the van. So
Just saved up like crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
I ate beans and noodles.
Literally.
Well, for somebody who doesn't have a ton of money, Mike, Nick, where do we get started? Can we go and get a loan? Or do we start with one machine? I want to encourage our viewers that you don't have to have 25K to get started.
Yeah, like I think for a lawn care landscaping business, at the end of the day, we're providing a service and we're giving our customers time. That's what we're doing. Well, you just ask yourself, like, how can I save them time? Well, you only need like a blower and a bin and a rake. That's what I've always said. You need a bin.
Doesn't cost much.
Get some leaves. You need a rake and you need a blower. If you can do that, you can clean up leaves. You can, do a lot of work around someone's place and get started, get that flywheel of momentum moving, and then go get a mower. Then go get a truck and just move from there. You don't need all that money, but if you're gonna, have a lot, if you're gonna do 150,000 your first year, you're gonna need to spend some money on advertising, equipment, etc.
Nick, in terms of being ready for day one, what step are you on now? What else is left for you to really hit the ground running?
Well, I'm on the final step. After this interview, we're going to be going to Carl's, and I'm going to be purchasing the rest of the power equipment, and I can get started on Monday. I'm all licensed, insured, ready to go.
Wow, you guys are going to be exciting. We're not only going to film him purchasing what he needs to get started next week, but we got some more updates and progress coming up for you in the next couple weeks. What's the benefit, Mike, coming back to you as far as mentorship? What's the benefit to the mentor and the mentee? Let's assume there's a relationship like you guys. You're helping Nick get started. What's the benefit to you and what's the benefit
Yeah,
to
I think
Nick?
as a mentor, if that's the terminology we use, I think it's very rewarding to give back to somebody and be able to take, it's kind of like a father and a son or a mother and a daughter or whatever it might be, passing down what you've learned and your experiences down to someone else and seeing them live that out is super cool. And hopefully you kind of make the journey a little bit easier for them in that process. So for a mentor, that's very fulfilling. I'd say fulfillment is probably the thing that would be the highlight. For a mentee, they can avoid the costly mistakes, wasted time, and the frustrations of doing it for the first time by themselves.
Mike, do you have any other tips on building your customer base? For Nick, just starting out, for people watching right now, what's really worked for you?
I think when you're first starting out, something leading back to something Nick said is that he's going to start off going door to door, right? And the reason is because a lot of times when you first start your business, you have a lot of time and not a lot of money. And being really just boots on the ground, willing to grind is something that is very, very important for someone just starting out. Doing those things, knocking on property managers' doors, knocking on customers' doors, doing door hangers, those are like the boots on the ground, hard work that it requires to do something very scalable, but also that is cheap. You don't have the money. You don't have a bunch of money and capital to go spend on big advertising campaigns.
Right. Sounds like nothing is better than face-to-face.
Especially when you're starting out, because you don't have the money usually, right? Like as time goes on, you get really busy, you got a bunch of crews. Like here, we don't do any door-to-door. We don't do a lot of door hangers, right? We do more, we have the money to spend on Google and Facebook and things like that. As your business evolves, you're gonna change your marketing somewhat to facilitate the fact that you do have money and you don't have time. When you're first starting out, it's the opposite. And a lot of people get hung up on that and they think that, oh, I can't do door-to-door, I can't do door hangers. And a lot of it comes down to pride. For someone to be willing to do that hard grinding work really is the thing that sets them up for success down the road.
We want to hear from you about what topics we should cover, what questions we should ask. So make sure you comment below. We want to hear from you. Make sure you check out our blog as well. And next year, we've got a hub coming out that will have everything you need to start, grow, and be successful in any business. Make sure you guys go to upflip.com/hub and sign up for updates so that you're the first one to know when the hub goes live. Nick, what's your revenue goal, right?
Yeah.
For the first year. So talk to us about that. First year, maybe if you have a second and fifth year, little projections out there, what does that look like? So
Okay.
be pretty cool.
Yeah, so first year revenue goal is 150,000, and how we're gonna get there, it's not like if you broke that down, divided by 12, and you're like, oh, he's gonna make $12,000 every month. It's gonna be more of an exponential curve. So what's gonna happen is the first 3 months, basically in the main of the spring rush, we're not gonna be making a ton of money. We're gonna be dumping all of the money that we make into marketing and just growing and accelerating as fast as we possibly can into the summer. And then once we hit late summer, we're gonna slow down a little bit and then focus on profitability. So it's a lot of growth really fast, kind of leveling out and just trying to sustain that through the year and end the year with money left in the bank so that we can market even harder the next year.
So second year revenue, what's your goal for that?
Second year revenue, 300,000. And I don't have a full second year plan set up yet.
Right.
Obviously that'll be in the works here pretty soon.
So it's pretty ambitious, right?
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense to set a goal that is easily attainable because it's not really a goal. A goal is to get you to stretch and like just reach towards something.
So on the first year, you had said that you wanted to take about $50,000 in profit. Is that right?
Yeah.
What about the second year?
In the second year, I would probably, if I'm running extremely lean, between 75 and 100,000.
Very cool.
In profit.
Yeah.
And these are pretty ambitious numbers. But again, that's the goal, is to be extremely lean and efficient from the start because I've seen how our systems affect stuff. So hopefully I won't be making as many costly mistakes early on.
For those that are in the business already, maybe struggling adding to their customer base, what's working for you now? They have a little bit more money, they have a budget. Google, Facebook, what's the top runner?
Yeah, like right now, digital is huge. And because of what we've gone through in 2020 with the health crisis, so many of our target population in the lawn care industry, which is an affluent retiree, they're now online. They're now at home. Before the pandemic, maybe they weren't on social media. They rejected the thought of buying things online. Now all of a sudden they have to be. That's the way they're communicating. That's the way that they're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. And so this completely changed the way that we have to communicate with them. And that's through more digital media, in my opinion.
So what would be one or two that is working well for you?
Google, Facebook, Nextdoor, and YouTube ads. And I think if you look at the metrics behind, especially YouTube ads right now, it's becoming very popular. And how you target these customers is more and more important, in my opinion. With YouTube, for example, you can target them based upon net worth. And if you're trying to do lawn care landscaping, you're traditionally going after a higher net worth individual. And so with Facebook, you can't do that. But Facebook, again, you're probably going to have you can also target them by age. So lots of different interesting ways to target people on digital media.
So you need to educate yourself quite a bit on Google, Nextdoor, Facebook, and really who you want to go after.
And just try it. Just try it. Do it. Do an ad. See what works. Do one with your face. Do one with a picture. Do one if you're in your truck. And just start seeing what works, what doesn't work, and what one flops versus what takes off. Right.
Okay. You guys, you want to make sure you stick around because we're going to go to the store, start picking out equipment, talk about budget, cost, etc. So make sure you keep watching.
So how much do you think we'll spend the day, like in terms of the equipment today you're buying?
Yeah, so based off of just like the rough pricing that I did on stuff, the 30-inch mower, it's probably going to be my biggest expense. It's going to be around 20.
Oh, you're gonna buy a 30X?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's worth the efficiency, and I'd rather pay more upfront to make sure that all my equipment is standardized in the long term. So, I mean, realistically, I could get away with a 21-inch mower, but I have the money. I may as well invest in it. It's going to make me a lot more efficient while I'm by myself and be able to allow me to get more estimates and more work done. You know.
So we have the 30X, 30-inch mower. That's going to be what, 2,700?
Yeah, probably around there with taxes.
Are you get 2 weed eaters?
To start, I'll probably just do one.
With a combi? With a combi?
Yep. Yeah, I'll get the combi attachment with the normal string head because I normally do all my edging with a string.
Right.
So I just need the metal head just to establish edges.
Right. So we did this is a metal, or so the combi motor, we're looking at 400.
Yep.
And then we got the combi is $200, I think, for the edgier attachment. Are you getting a trimmer attachment?
Yep, I'll get a hedge trimmer attachment.
Cool.
So 3 attachments for that one.
Got it. And then the spring, you're right.
Yep.
They're like $200 piece. Cool. And then a blower?
Yep, a blower and a sprayer.
Cool.
So I'm looking to spend between 35 and 4 at the top end.
Got it. Okay, cool.
All right, so we're over here at Carl's, over here in Ferndale, Washington. I'm going to be buying all of the equipment that I'm going to be using to start up my business.
So our advantage of going with an Exmark 30 over a traditional 21 is we're getting, you know, that much more capacity of mow. So we're really 2 passes with this is 3 passes with the 21.
What's some of the downsides of this versus the 21 though?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I like the stripes of this. It's a nice wide stripe. But currently, probably the biggest struggle that we're seeing out of a 30 is the fact that it's hard to get the horsepower that we need to handle that much grass on a wet day, right? So I'd say half of the year, this is the best mower you're ever gonna run.
All right, so we got the mower. Let's go ahead and go inside and get the handheld.
Take a look at what you got for handheld. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. They got the robot mowers here too. Oh, that's cool, man. These are the robot mowers. These are auto mowers from Husqvarna. They got ones from Honda. And there's a lot of pros to these because you don't have to hire someone to mow a lawn anymore. These can go back and forth. You set them up one time, and they can mow lawns literally all day long, and they come charged at night. Super cool. I think in the future of the industry, these will be used more and more. One thing these can't do is weed whack, blow things off, edge, trim bushes. So we have job security still, but these are definitely a more efficient way for labor for mowing the lawn.
We can get the dedicated string trimmers, but you're starting your business and you see the advantages of the combi setup, right? That doesn't lock you into a weed eater or an edger. You buy one engine and then you can get different things.
There you go. I'll grab this one too.
Yeah, and I like that straight hedger too, right? That's a nice setup that pulls off.
So all in for this, like what this cost and the attachments just approximately.
Yeah, so I'm gonna round up, say 400, this is a little bit high. 200 for the edger, so we're at 600, 700, 900, and again I'm gonna round up on this to 200, it's actually 180. So we're at 11, sorry, I lost where I was at, 1,100 bucks to get you set up.
Cool, all right, now let's go ahead and look at the blowers.
Yeah, absolutely. So these guys are running $499, so we're at what, 1,100?
I am.
400, 500, so we're 1,600 and we're about 2,300 for the mower.
Very cool.
What else do you need?
Sprayer.
This guy's putting you back 120 bucks. It's gonna hold about 4.5 gallons.
Well, that's a wrap for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, because we've got a lot more progress updates coming up for Nick and the amazing advice that Mike is giving him on how to build a successful business. Make sure you check out our other video with Mike and other lawn care business videos that we've done. The link is in the description below, and enjoy.